Hello everyone, R2F here with another weekly analysis. Today is the 26th of May, Sunday, 2024. Okay, so let's just have a quick look as we usually do, starting on the dollar index and then working our way through some forex pairs, forex minus commodities, and Bitcoin. Okay, so yeah, as I said on the monthly, what I'm looking for is to see whether this current monthly candle closes above or below this monthly inversion gap at the moment. Okay, so if we close above, then I'll be looking for signatures on a lower time frame, like the weekly, daily, to indicate that we will be moving higher. We do close lower, I will be anticipating a possible move on the next month of June to come into the gap, somewhere into the gap, and then show signatures on the lower time frame that we were going lower. And if that's the case, I could possibly be targeting a yearly R2F gap here, which I will definitely be looking for. Um, I guess shorts on counter pairs such as the euro dollar and potential longs on dollar, whatever, right? So just go to the weekly time frame and see what happened in the last week. So we had a big expansion up. Price came up to this area of consolidation, and we had price come back into the 1 week BC. It did not break the high, as you can see here. And then it came up again, taking out that previous week's high, but not breaking the overall high, creating these relative equal highs, which is leading me to think that it will possibly come back to that area in the not too distant future. Okay, my internet's a bit slow, so it's a bit laggy. All right, so we had a weekly close below. Price came up into the weekly gap again, all the way to the top. Yeah, pretty much to the pip. Closed below the midway, and the next week opened up, came into the wick and midpoint of this gap, and then started expanding lower. We had one more push up into this gap, and this bearish order block. So based on this time frame, what am I looking for? I'm seeing if we come back down into this area. Let me see if there's anything on the 2 week. Anything too prominent on the 2 week. Possibly, we'll see how next week closes. Next week opens. We could. Yeah, sorry. As I was saying, we come back open, small manipulation, and then head lower, or maybe further into this gap here, and then lower. Let me check the 2 week. All the time frames are important. All right, on the weekly, we'll need more information, so we go down on the daily. As I said, on the monthly, I want the monthly to close and possibly come back into here if I was going to take trades lower. 5-day, 4-day. We got a 4-day gap, so we may just come lower from here. 3-day, 3-day gap, 2-day, 1-day, and as you can see, we have a gap in here, a small gap, but on the 2-day, it's more respected. Price did not come above this gap, which is signature in price. Yeah, so we may just be going lower. Is there a breaker in here? We could come in here and then just go lower, or maybe a little bit higher. Okay, either in somewhere in this area, and then head lower. That is a possibility, but we'll see starting the next week. Okay, so let's go to the euro quickly, see if we can find any correlation. Yeah, euro came into this daily gap, came in there once again, and then started expanding up. right? It came all the way up, then closed down here. And then the last day of the week, Friday, it started expanding up. If we have a closer look on the lower time frames. Yeah, so to me, it's very possible we may be moving up here, but possibly into this 3 hour gap. Um, we may just move up straight from here, but this would be a discount. Okay, it's where the algo deems reasonable to buy at below the 50% mark of a swing. So that's an anticipation. We can see something happen on the lower time frames, like a 1 hour, 15 minute, based on time at the time of the day. If there's news events happening, um, we can anticipate possibly higher prices. If we do go lower by some manipulation, this area here would be a point of interest. But I think if we start moving lower, we may just be moving lower in general. Okay, so that in mind, same thing for the pound. Expecting higher prices. Let's go back to the weekly. All right, hold this in the chart. Okay, we came into this monthly gap quite nicely. Monthly busy. You can have a look here. It's over here. You'll see 1 month and starting to expand higher. So with the bias in mind that price is going higher, where is it going higher to? There's a nice gap here that can be targeted on the monthly. So this is the bias from here to here. This should be 1 month. And pricing, catching a move in here to possibly come up higher, right? But I think it's important where this current month closes based on the dollar. Weekly, maybe we come back into this gap and then expand higher, or back into this previous opening new week gap that we have here. New week opening gap. So we can see price come back to that possibly on the daily again, or come further into a discount and then start moving higher. Same thing, New Zealand dollar, possibly back into this gap here. Delete this. And then move higher from there. So all this liquidity up here and this imbalances, very nice to target. Australian dollar, same concept in mind. Some equal highs. I don't know where exactly to target. Some equal highs here. Points of liquidity. But this is the weekly time frame. So if you're taking a trade, go to the nearest premium array, such as this gap over here. If you go to the daily came all the way down. So no gaps currently. So I would like to see price break above this area again in order to take a trade higher into here. If not, we may move lower. Okay. Dollar, Swiss franc. Swiss franc is moving higher as well. Well, dollar is moving higher against the Swiss franc. Swiss franc is seems to be significantly weaker, but we'll see next week. There's a weekly gap down here, and there's I don't know what gap this is that price could trade to, but it came already to this breaker, so it may just continue to move higher into this area first. Go to the monthly and have a look. Yeah, the monthly gap with a breaker. I mean, we could see a good reaction there, I think, but you can see how manipulated this pair is. Not good for swing trades or position trades. Dollar yen's up here now, kind of like all-time high. So all we can see is that it came into the gap here and had a good reaction. So we may actually see higher prices. Came into the gap here, disrespected this gap. Yeah, so It really depends. It's not so clear now, not so high probability to me. We're already at a premium. Taking a long is risky, and I think I'd want to see another run on liquidity first. So I'm not so interested in this pair right now. Dollar CAD, some equal highs up here that I've wanted to target previously, up here and up here. So okay, nothing too much on this time frame. If we go to the monthly, also no interesting gaps. Yeah, I can't say there's anything much that's interesting on this pair at the moment. Let me go to a lower time frame. We came into this daily gap, and now we expanded higher. Any indication on the 12 hour? Not good. We created a gap, close here. I don't see any gaps below. Yeah, so it's, I think a news event would be required to change the direction in price. So there might be some manipulation, and if we were to be bullish, it would happen during a probably a dollar news event. Okay, so let's go to the pound yen. Nothing much as well. We are, yeah, pretty high up. Came up, took out liquidity, came down. Now we're just expanding up again. Yeah, completely nothing interesting here for me. Dollar pound seem to be going lower, and I had anticipation they will come down into this whole order block area before potentially doing anything. So seems to be doing that. Came into this gap and now it's closing lower. Let's say I don't trade this pair too much, but I see they came into that gap already. So possible to look for a short. We see a gap in here at a above equilibrium. Okay, in premium, this area would be okay. Here, possible equal lows. So I definitely be anticipating price coming lower. Where? Maybe I'll look for a gap on the 2-day, 3-day, possibly in here after Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, come Thursday if we've not yet come into this gap. 1, 2, 3, 3-day. Yeah, hopefully we come into here, then be okay for a possible short on this area to come lower, right? So where it came into here, closed here, it may come down a bit more, maybe create more liquidity, or it may just go, right? But I don't want to take a trade until we get into something, get into a nice premium area, at least close to it. We may come down into this gap and then expand higher. And at that point, okay, that's a crucial moment to look for signatures that we are going lower and not higher, right? So we may just come into here, which we already done, come into here, and then either let's go down more, or create new gaps and start expanding higher again to take out at least this area. All right, so gold. People love gold. Also, all-time highs. But on the daily, we see this liquidity being taken and now expanding lower. I think we could possibly go lower now into a discount. Go on the 2-day. I like the 1-day. There's a nice breaker there. So possibly up into this area. And then go lower. That would be nice. That would be nice. But we'll wait till then. It's also in this current gap here. Okay, I don't know what gap that is. Maybe a 4-hour gap. Maybe a 4-hour inversion gap that could be used. But I'll be probably looking at the daily gap to be used. But I do like this breaker here and possibly taking a trade in there to go lower. Somewhere in there. Let's have a look at oil. What happened? All right. Interesting. So on the monthly, just to recap, I don't know why my boxes keep changing size. Very annoying. Okay, so we had this monthly SIBI that got blasted through, and a monthly BISI that got created, and price now is still in the month and it's still in that area. But what I see on the weekly time frame is price created this gap and this order block here. Came into the gap on the weekly, which is here in light blue, and started moving lower. And it did come lower. So I want to see if price wants to close this month above. It's a relatively high probability based on just having multiple PD arrays and this yearly gap here. But yeah, I would like to see how the monthly closes to give me more indication. If I'm anticipating going higher, I want to look. I want to see what happens in a week. So wait for some news or something to start to push price higher. Price came into the gap. It came lower. Came into the gap again and almost broke the low, but created equal lows. Right. So internal liquidity, external. That's it. External. Yeah. Here's also considered external, but this type of context is important to see that internal is inside the gap and external is just below the low. Okay, because more often than not, you see price come to the gap, just take out the low a bit, and then it starts flying, and you think, "Oh, my gap didn't work." Well, it did, if that's what you were targeting, right? And last but not least, Bitcoin. As we know, Bitcoin came into monthly gap here, and monthly CB down here, just annotated, and came into the monthly gap and started expanding higher. Weekly, same thing, gap. Just go straight to the daily. Yeah, so we expanded up, and now we are inside this inversion fair value gap. And also, you can see another BISI here created, right? And now we've stopped here. This is BTC USDT, so price is still running. It's different from forex and stuff. So I want to see if we want to go higher from here, and the lowest point I guess would be here. 2 days, 3 days. Yeah, it's quite possible we come into this whole area. Okay, so now we get a clear 3-day gap with something that could possibly be traded to. So I would write this. I would change that daily gap into this 3-day gap, because that's what my focus is on. And inside there's this area, so it could come here and then start expanding, but it could come lower as well into this gap, depending on the strength. Okay, we're not gonna predict such things, but quite possibly into this area again. You can throw a fib on there, see where the discount is. Over here, you can get pretty close. Sometimes it doesn't go all the way, but you can get pretty close. What's that? I can add text. Okay. Can I? How do I add text? Premium discount. Interesting. Da-da-da. So yeah, I recently posted a video about FBTC. You can check that out on how F is going to make a lot more gains than Bitcoin, which will also lead the altcoin market, because F is the primary so-called altcoin. So you can check that out on my YouTube or probably my TradingView profile. And just quick look at the S&P. Again, all-time highs. What happened? Monthly. Traded into monthly gap, expanded higher, took out the top. So now we've taken out the top, created this entire range. Weekly, we have a weekly gap here. If we were going to go higher, it's not a discount, so I'd be wary. There's also a weekly gap here, which I'd be more interested to take. Yeah, I don't think I'd take a trade here with such all-time highs. It's not a high probability. There's no clear draw of liquidity above. So any moment it could like turn around, right? And the daily came into this daily gap once, took out the high, came into it again. Now we're here. Let's see if there's anything on the 8 hour. Yeah, so what this looks like to me is, yeah, breaker, price coming down. Maybe close the week here, come into this weekly gap, whatever. And if we're going higher, move higher. Not exactly this pattern, but anything can happen. And if we're going lower, close, clunk, and then go lower, take out this low. Okay, sell side liquidity there. So these are two possible options. But I do like this area. I'll post the analysis on it on my page. And yeah, that's it for this week's market analysis. So yeah, if you have any particular pairs you want me to look at, I'll be glad to do so. Till next time, have a safe trading week. R2F signing out.